Let's get to our sector spotlight of the day. On Monday, we checked the temperature of some ETFs, and they all sort of said we're going to see some more downside. Today, let's check the temperature of the popular leading stocks, the sexy stocks. We always talk about them to see what they are up to. Want to start on Apple, ended lower by about 1.5% on Monday, despite the Worldwide Developer Conference in San Francisco, despite Steve Jobs coming to the conference, despite Apple sort of making a monopoly in all their products, introducing the iCloud, the iTunes Music, iTunes Match.
Yes.
iTunes Match. Is this a typical buy the rumor, sell the news, or is there something else going on here?
Well, Apple's been trying to be strong, and everyone's been waiting for this keynote, and it came and it left, and they were able to solve the event. Sometimes, if there's more buying pressure, they can't have that happen, which happens a lot. So for Apple, today's an interesting day because sometimes that type of situation is a trap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch short-term yesterday's low. Okay, if they take it negative and they trade it through yesterday's low, I'm going to be very careful here because then we could come back to the lower end of the range.
But what do we see a bounce today, like we're seeing with the rest of the markets?
I would see, I was looking at this level right here as an area to see if it could hold below. So if all of a sudden it starts taking back this, 330, 343 area, it'll negate the strength of this big bar. We talk about retracement rules. So just say if we were down pretty big yesterday, 5 points, if the bears really have control, it shouldn't bounce more than 2. So today's action will be very key for Apple, and obviously Apple's a huge stock when the market's under pressure. Stock's not going to break out until it has some of the market's strength at its back instead of the wind in the face.
Okay, there we go. Good picture there. All right, we have to go to Netflix. Also made a record high, but then sold off, settling well below that level yesterday, down 4%. This has been one of the best leaders. So how much of a bummer is this? How much of a bearish signal for Netflix is it?
It's a bummer if you didn't watch your strategies. And we talk about the Red Dog reversal. Everyone makes fun of me with it, but it's an outside reversal day, and yesterday we saw it. And guys in the community made a lot of money short Netflix. The first time you were able to do so when it pushed through Monday's high, came back below, or through Friday's high, and then it cascaded lower all day. I want you to look at this pattern here, because these patterns repeat themselves. Here we go. This was when it broke through Friday's high, and look at the size of this bar. It also, resolved this ascending channel. So today, I think some traders are going to try and shorten up open because they think that eventually it's going to trade through yesterday's low, and we do get a test of this 255 before we monitor the action again.
What about Amazon also continuing this downward trend? Is it the same kind of strategy that we're seeing with Netflix?
Yeah, and the strategy's been working for the shorts because we saw the first break, and then we talked about on Friday if it breaks 191, it's another key area, and you could see a move to the downside. You had that move. Then yesterday it was up $1. Trader said, okay, this is still weak. I'm going to short it. It's not at key levels. It was up $1. Then it went down 2.5. Now for Amazon, I would say we're getting to a bigger support. I would not want to be short this anymore. We're coming into this zone. I might look for a tradable bounce here. These are my two levels around 182 to 185. So hopefully you've taken some of that trade off because we had a decent move from the highs here, which my button's a little sticky.
He said button, everybody.
Right there, boom. Anyway, Amazon, I think that the easy money in the short's been made. Now it's time for a tradable bounce.
All right, real quick, we have to go to Baidu having a serious breakdown here. Where is that next level of support?
121 to 122 I see is the next level. Chinese internet's tried to be strong. They sold them again. Very dangerous area.
So I guess the big takeaway for the tech leaders is that you can't necessarily trust this bounce. We could see some more downside.
Yes, and just because they're leaders doesn't mean you could be in there. You have to be in them at the right time.
And talking about tech, I spoke to Dan Fitzpatrick, who is a technician also and a RealMoney.com contributor for The Street. And I wanted to see where he is putting money to work. He has 3 stocks he wants you to take a look at, so take a listen.